Good morning, afternoon, good day. This is May the 1st on Monday. The time is about 1:25 p.m. in the afternoon, and it's Monday, May the 1st on 2017. This one is going to be one that you might not want to hear, but you need to hear it. And the title is What is Right and Wrong? And we need to know this about the trouble we are in. First, I'm gonna say is that my talks are primarily for black people. Well, absolutely for black people, melanated people. That is, people who got skin that's from the continent of Africa. Okay, so everything I'm saying is about are talking to black people. We might call ourselves various names, and please forgive us as we stumble around trying to figure out our name because our names were beaten out of us, seasoned out of our ancestors. We're going to be confused while we stumble around to rename ourselves again. But I'm talking about the people who had their basic evolution on Africa and have the adaptations and mutations that are from the hot sun, from that continent on the hot sun. So I have kinky hair that stands up because it's designed to protect my scalp from sunstroke. It absorbs and reflects the hot sun, so I won't get sunstroke. I can tan 2 shades darker in 15 minutes because I'm adapted for the hot sun. I'm talking about those people, me, like me. Talking about the people who are getting shot in the street in America by cops and things, and have a problem in the American legal system. I'm talking about us, black people. So, my warning is that you might not be ready to make, if you're not ready to make changes, then you don't want to hear this. And I discussed the cosmic laws of right and wrong and how these laws affect our current condition as black people. Now, of course, I have my little overview here because I need it to keep me on track because I'll be drifting off in orbit somewhere talking because I have branch thoughts as I go. But this helps me stay focused and at least get the vital points I need to make out. So let me read my overview, my main points that I'm gonna go over. And I hope that this isn't very long, but it might be. I don't think it's going to be very long. The cosmic laws of right and wrong. In this part, I talk about we already know these laws and etc. Then the other topic is, well, basically the cosmic laws of right and wrong and how we and what that means. So let me just jump in here. And I'm reading off a Word document, of course, so you might hear me clicking and things like that. And this one is like all the rest of them are going to presume that you have already heard some of the rest of my recordings. So you already know a lot of my stances, and some of this is going to build on that. Okay? So let me see. Topic one. We already know these laws, the cosmic laws of right and wrong. There might be better ways to put it, but the way I'm going to describe it is the cosmic laws of right and wrong. We've known these laws since birth. We were born imprinted with these laws. Now, the perception of what these laws might be changes with teachings. For example, religion might change what the perception of these laws are, but your soul actually knows the truth. And your soul knows that it's accountable to these laws, despite what the religion says. Okay, we already know these laws subconsciously, and your soul is already keeping tabs on where you stand. So our real reality is based on what your soul knows, not what your religious text teaches, what your soul actually knows. Okay? The religious text can be teaching everything in the world, but your soul knows the truth. Among the things that are the laws, and I'm just going to give some of them, it's not limited to these, but they include but are not limited to. And I'm going to look at one of the biggest, which is the law of reciprocity. This is a cosmic law that plays out in front of you. Everything, I mean, like water and air, all of that is all about balance. That is the great law, really. That's a law. A thunderstorm is about balance. Uh, Tidal waves, the moon, all of that's about balance. That's where you take something out of something, something's got to fill it to balance it out. You take a dip of water, I mean, you take a glass of water, dip it out of a pitcher, something's got to fill that. It's got to fill to fill in that gap. Everything. That's what reciprocity is, balance. Everything, balance. Putting back something when something's taken. Or else you add something, then something's got to come out of something else. This is a closed ecosystem, the earth is. So whatever evaporates in the air has got to be filled up. It's got to come back. It's always balance. Everything about earth is balance. It thunderstorms. The wind is about balance. When we have hard winds blowing, it's trying to balance itself in the universe on the air scale. It's blowing. The reason why it's blowing is because there's a hollow where it's blowing to and an overage where it's blowing from. There's a hollow where it's blowing to and literally an overage where it's blowing from. And depending on the how big that hollow is and how big that overage is, that's going to be the speed of the wind. So it's blowing rapidly to the hollow and it's blowing away from the overage. Okay, that's the speed of the wind. That's the nature trying to balance itself. Same thing with everything else in nature. Everything else in the universe, for that matter, is about balance. That's mostly what's going on. So um, that's a law of reciprocity as described in the winds, but it's also as described in the balance of right and wrong as a cosmic law. And I have for the law, and I got noted that it's one of the biggest. And I'm gonna read off to you what I need to say about that. One must give to get. You must never owe a debt. You pay for what's received, and you always try to maintain the right side of that balance. Now, I'm gonna say something that um, probably won't want to hear, but for the most part, spiritual people have already figured this out. Religious people have not. Okay, just a side note there. But spiritual people already got this. They are already on it. They're already on the same page. Religious people, they got some work to do. So you always try to right your balance. That's your debt. Other laws include, but are not limited, help when you can, care for those around you, the sick, the aged, the young, respect the divine, respect the earth, take care of that which is created, love that which is good, and there are other laws. Now, where did I get these laws? I didn't get them from a book. I get them because they're already imprinted on my soul. I'm in touch with my soul. My soul talks to me. I talk to it. I listen. Okay? Because I'm spiritual. I'm not religious. That religion thing is a barrier to your direct connection with your soul. And and further down here, I'm going to talk about how to get back to your connection with your soul. But right now, I'm going to continue to go on with this. So you might have various books that might tell you some of this same stuff, and that's why I say it's not limited to that, but it's includes, and it's already imprinted. It was already there. Now, my focus on this talk is about don't make me keep saying reciprocity. I might use other words like balance and payment of the debt because reciprocity is hurting my mouth. Say it. Okay, so this talk is about that R word. And what I got on this part of the overview is that we are in big trouble if we do not understand the R word, reciprocity or balance or payment and debt. Okay, this rule is part of the cosmic balance of our souls. Simply put, we cannot get justice if we don't give justice. We cannot get justice unless we actually give justice. We can't get what's rightfully ours unless we give others what's rightfully theirs. Okay? Now, you might argue about what you're right or wrong according to your religion, but your soul, again, knows the truth. It always knows where you're really standing. And so you can't really argue it away, and you can't jump up around and be in denial because your soul is always going to know the truth, no matter what, because that's what's keeping score. So if you have lied to yourself or let somebody lie to you for you because it's convenient or because that's what you really want to believe, all you did was just make it worse. The reason why I'm having this talk is because I want you, my friends and family, to come out of that, because what you're doing is affecting me and it's affecting the others in our community. When your imbalance is hitting me because I'm in proximity to you, and people who are bad are coming after you, they gonna hit me too. I don't want that. And I want us all to get fixed because I see my association with you. So my job in this talk is to make sure I say these words out and make sure you hear them, because that's my job. That's what my function is in this, is to make sure the words come out of my mouth, because that was my assignment from the cosmic force. Okay, is to make sure the words come out of my mouth. Whether you take them and to heart and use them is not my battle. My job is to make sure I said it, and that's what I'm doing. And I've just said that you couldn't argue it away, and I talked about how I need to talk about reciprocity. What ultimately prompted this whole talk about reciprocity is that there are YouTubers and social media content providers that are asking for our support. Okay? They're asking out for our support because they know they're putting out a product that we're using, but unfortunately, we're not wanting to pay for it. So we're receiving something for nothing. That's part of the problem on so many levels. We can start from the micro level to the macro level in our community. That's the same argument that black businesses are having, same arguments that black consumers are having. We have got this problem. And I just went off script a minute, but anyway, that's a problem, and that's part of why we're in trouble. Topic A: we are viewing, using, and enjoying their content without providing financial support. Many are indeed supporting, but many are not. Item C is we are receiving something of value to us for nothing, and this is an imbalance. This is an injustice, and this is trouble. Okay? So that's what prompted this talk. It's the injustice that we're doing to our own, because I suspect that the forces of destruction have clouded our minds in many people, and we don't want to help them because something is making us not want to help them. Okay? But if they're providing content that's helping us to become more beneficial and stable, then of course the force of destruction will want them to stop. Okay, because when we are working with the forces of creation, which is a force of good, then we're counterbalancing the forces of destruction. So anything that can knock down the force of creation is automatically benefiting the forces of destruction. So if we lose these content providers who are saying things that are helping us as a community learn and make sure that we can go forward by providing information about news that we need to know, then we have inadvertently helped the forces of destruction by letting these voices be silenced. And we've also helped the forces of destruction on our part because we have let an imbalance happen in our soul. So that's why I'm saying it's on the macro level and the micro level, big and little, the smallest level and the largest level. And that's why we're in trouble. Okay, we can't get justice unless we ourselves are just. I can't complain about your sins against me unless I fix my sins against you. I can't complain righteously about somebody else doing me wrong unless I have made sure I have not done anybody else wrong. Only thing, like I said in one of my other ones, a thief that's running around stealing from the neighborhood can't complain about what the white man stole from him. Only thing you're arguing, and you argue that, is who's the bigger thief, and that you're fussing that the bigger thief got the better of you. That's not justice. Okay? Outside, I'm sorry about that noise outside, but they're fixing or doing God knows what out there. They got lights going and machines going outside the door. They're doing something to the street. And I am sorry about that noise, but I can't fix it. So please bear with it. I'm hoping that it's not too big of a distraction. And I don't know how long they're going to be there doing that, but I'm not going to stop. We're just going to try to muddle along and get this done. I just regret that there's a noise in the background. So if you are, now let me see where I'm at. Just a second. Yeah, okay. What I said is that we can't get justice unless we ourselves are just. And item A here is that to pay for what we get is not for the payee, it's for the payer. When I'm paying for what I get, I'm actually doing that for my benefit more than as much as I am, if not more than, excuse me, than the person I'm paying to. I'm the reason why it's for my benefit because I'm making sure that the balance is right in my soul. My cosmic balance is in order, trying to make sure that I don't owe a cosmic debt. So it's more for the payee than the payer. Okay? And when it's in balance, it's also right in the balance for us as a group, too. Okay? And so that's more for the payee, not the pay. I mean, more for the payer, not the payee. And I'm gonna read off what I got here. I need to pay for what I get for my sake, not for them. We can't steal each other's labors and work any more than we want white men stealing from us and our ancestors, because that's a form of enslavement. I'm taking somebody else's work and not paying them for it. Does that sound familiar? Okay. I suspect, and I'm off script again, I suspect that long ago we did something like that and it broke our cosmic balance. So as a result, we let the forces of destruction get ahead and are get stronger and started really making inroads against the forces of creation. That is, another way to put it is we let the forces of evil get an inroad and started making headway against the forces of good. And we made a wrong turn somewhere because I believe that we are the primary caretakers of our home. And we let the neighbors who don't know how to take care of a house in our house, and now they're just running amok. They're having rave parties in our living room. They're using up our telephone. They all on the internet buying porn. They're taking over our household. We barely got the bedroom to ourselves now. Okay, but they're destroying our house, and we let them in the door for somehow, some reason, some way. And instead of us getting our act together and getting them under control and teaching them A, how to be right, and B, how to get out of our house and us cleaning up, we're adopting some of their habits. And that's among the reasons we're in trouble. Okay. Now let me pick up where I left off. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, we don't steal each other's work because it's much like slavery, and this is not right, and our soul knows it, and it works together that way. We will stay in our condition until we fix this, not only now but forevermore. We are still in this condition because we have not fixed it. This is cycling over and over again. That's the lesson that the cosmic universe is trying to teach us. We're not going to get out of trouble until we get this right. And it's on us. Nobody is stopping us from fixing our problem, at least that problem, where we are paying each other for our own goods and services. A good is a physical thing, and a service is an intrinsic thing. Okay? So until we get this right, we're going to keep cycling among it's not that's not limited to that, mind you, but in a way it's a factor in it, and it's a big factor because it all boils down to that, and it's at the root of much of our problems. Okay? So until we get this right, until we fix this now, that is pay what you owe now and thereafter, that is things that haven't even been provided to us yet, we got to get ready to pay that because we are receiving something for it. Okay, so we are receiving a good, or we are receiving a service. Got to get ready to pay each other for what we give each other. Okay, that's what I mean. If you have a debt, you need to pay the YouTuber whose work you enjoy. They have asked for help. You, I owe them my support. I am choosing, and right here I'm just reading, I am choosing a figure that my soul and I can agree on. That is, for example, there's a YouTuber whose work I enjoy. And I think I paid before when they first started, and I'm going to pay again because I have since then enjoyed the work. I won't commit to some kind of monthly payment where they're like paying out of my something or another often because I don't know what kind of tragedy or disaster or problem might strike. And so I don't know how I'm going to be. But I do know that there's a figure that my soul and I can agree on. And by that, I do mean to say it just like that. My soul and I can agree on, and then I can donate that if possible. I haven't donated it yet. That's why I keep qualifying it, saying try to and if possible, because I do believe in the law of unforeseen possibilities and infinite possibilities. So I don't never commit to a firm yes or no or nothing, okay? Because I don't know what's going to happen. 5 minutes from now, a meteor might strike, lightning bolt might hit my building. I don't know what's going to happen. And so I don't never commit to things categorically because I honestly do not know what's going to happen. That's the way I think. That's the way my mind works. Law of infinite possibilities. So I'm going to say I'm going to try to donate something in a few minutes to this person whose work I enjoy because I don't want this person to leave the internet, and I do listen to their work, and so I do owe them. They have asked for donations. I believe that I should pay for my sake, not necessarily for hers. Okay, so that's what that's about. The way to determine what you should pay. First, you let's just talk about what whether or not if you should pay. And the way to determine that is ask yourself if you use their service. If you listen to their work, do you view their content? Do you use their content? If you do this regularly, then you owe. It's fair that you pay. If they're especially if they're asking for it. Some people offer free content because they're not asking for payment, but some are needing payment. And if you do regularly consume their product, then you owe them. Just like you would want somebody to pay you if you owe them. I mean, if they owe you. If you sold flowers on the street, somebody walked up, picked up, and sniffed a flower, they just got a benefit from you. Now, if they put the flower back, no harm is done. Generally, we say okay. But if they walked away with that flower, they owe you for that flower. You gave them something, right? I live in the DC metro area, and around the area that I live in, I mean, that I work in and get off the subway at, they often have people that do songs or play music or something uh, to make money. They have a little bucket out where you can tip the guitar player or singer or musical instrument player or whatever they're doing, right? I Every payday I would put about a few dollars, one few separate dollar bills in a little special pouch on my whatever I'm using, my purse or whatever, my subway uh, smart trip holder, just to be able to put the dollar in the basket for when I listen to their music. Because as I'm riding up the escalator, if I find I'm enjoying the music or even listening to it and having a pleasant experience as a result of me listening, that is, I am enjoying the service they provided. I enjoyed it on the way up the escalator or through the way as I walk toward them on the street. I enjoyed what they're providing. That means I owe them. I put my little dollar in their little thing, and that's all I'm gonna put is a dollar, mind you. I don't care if you're 5 or 10 or 1. I'm putting in $1, and that's it's rare that I put in $5. I'm not made that way, but I do at least put in $1. That's a number I'm comfortable with. So I pick my comfortable number. I'm okay with a dollar. And so I put it in the basket because I enjoyed their service. And this could be any race. I enjoyed your service and I put my money in there because I got something from you. That was that's how it works. No matter what it is, if you got something from them and you enjoyed it and they're indicating that they would like for you to pay them, even if it's 50 cents, even if it's a quarter. In this case, I'm going to pay this YouTuber the equivalent of two Popeye's chicken dinners because I like Popeye's chicken, and I'm going to instead eat the steamed vegetables I got in my freezer for me to eat instead of fast food. So you can make some sacrifices and changes in what you do to set it to make this money go for them. There's You can just like I do, rearrange my expenses a bit, and I can afford to make that sacrifice to pay. It's not about what that money is because we pay some stupid stuff. If you And I already told you that I'm no longer getting my eyebrows done at the nail salon, so that's already $10 that I'm saving. Just various choices to be made, and that's but I'd rather pay that to save my cosmic soul than to hold on to that $10 and cost my cosmic soul, because that $10 or $20 or whatever I'm choosing to spend, and I won't be specific on this, it's about writing the balance in my cosmic soul. I would call things like that the dollar store syndrome. That is, I was in a dollar store some years ago, a lot of years ago, and I noticed a lady in there following me around or sneaking peeks at me. And I thought to myself, oh Lord, she thinks I'm gonna steal something. And I was annoyed because on two levels. A, she thinks I'm gonna steal something, and B, she thinks I'm gonna steal it from the dollar store. In my mind, I was saying to myself, mind you, that if I'm going to steal something, it's not going to be from the dollar store. I'm not going to sell my cosmic soul for something in the dollar store because the weight of a theft has the same price. So I'm not going to sell and imbalance my soul, for something that's cheap out of the dollar store. So it's the same price going in, the same price going out. It's and not to mention that you just like the crime committed is going to be the same weight. So I'm not going to choose to steal out the dollar store. So don't choose to be nickel and diming the people when it's got the same weight. Okay, it's just pick out your figure. and it's fair that you pay, so pay. Now, I'm going to talk about how to get back in touch with your soul. And notice how I said back in touch. You used to be in touch with your soul. People who aren't in touch with their souls right now won't like this because it's undermining all of their little arguments against being right. They have listened to something tell them it's okay not to be right and righteous, and they're buying it because it's convenient and it makes for an easier lifestyle. And we can't afford that anymore. We've got to make sure we are on the right path, especially since we're now wanting to be on wanting the benefits of being on the right path. But you got to pay the price, and part of that is paying each other and righting the balance in your soul. Now, how to get in touch with your soul. I'm going to read a few of them off here. I'm letting you know it's a solitary process. There's no time limit. Find a way to spend some time alone and do it once a month at minimum, and do whatever you need to do to be alone. So it's a solitary process. This is not a group activity. This is not something for you to have a book club about. The moment somebody tries to tell you that it's a group activity or something where you need to have a committee about, they're on the wrong path. They are not going to be helping you. They will be a distraction, and you will not have got the results that you're needing. You need to be having a real conversation with your own soul. Your soul has got to be able to reach you, really reach you. The inside of your soul and your mind need to be working together, and they need to be able to know each other. People who have to, an example is people have to write books about the presence of God and stuff like that, and they have to have an intellectual debate about it. They ain't got a clue. If you got to write a seminar or have a debate or write a paper about your existence and whether or not you exist, that's telling me you ain't even in the ballpark of understanding the cosmic self or your soul. So if you got to have a seminar about how to reach your soul or go to a meeting or something like that, you're not really on the right path, because this is a solitary process. They might have some words, excuse me, they might have some words about how to get there, just like I do, because I'm telling you how to get there. But it's not a thing you need to have to pay for to go to a meeting. It's not something where somebody can grab you by the hand and look in your eye and tell you to get there. It's something you got to do yourself. Let me take a sip of water for a second. I'm back. Thank you. And what I'm getting at is no religious leader can do it for you. I can't do it for you. Your dogs, the cats, nobody can do it for you. Okay? So it's a solitary process. The, there's no time limit. It depends on how much damage is already done to your personal soul connection. So it might be over the course of 2 or 3 years, or it might be as few as one session with yourself. And by session, I'm going to describe that in a few minutes. But there's no real time limit. It depends on how far gone you already are. Now, what I did write down is this. You need to find a way to spend about 4 to 6 hours alone just thinking to yourself. No baby, no internet, no nothing. Try not to have music. Try not to have a lot of distraction. No music, no internet, no news. Nothing to distract you from your mind thinking to itself. Because that's step one, is to be able to think and then think to yourself. That is one of the most important steps. What I used to do was drive about 2 hours out and 2 hours back. When I lived in the dorm and I needed to maintain in touch, stay in touch with my soul and get in touch with my soul. But I didn't live alone. I lived with people. I lived in the dorm, and I didn't have a chance or a way to actually have me long extended periods of time just by myself. So what I did do was drive out, get on the highway, in the car alone. That's all I had. Only alone space I had was in the car with the windows rolled up and just me on the road. And that's what I would do. I would drive for 2 hours out in any direction and 2 hours back. And this was I've been doing something like that since I was in my early 20s. The initial reason why I was doing it was because I needed to exercise the car. With vehicles, if you go to work and you have transportation or walk to work, you aren't driving, and cars need to be moved because it helps the car. So what I would do is just drive to exercise the car. You have to put a certain amount of driving in on it because cars are meant to be driven, and certain cars will almost atrophy if you don't drive them. So I would take some time and drive it, but then I found out that I was going into a level that was beyond meditation, and I was finding myself listening to my soul, and I was able to figure out how to be in touch with that and let my moral self come forward and tell me things that I needed to hear about the cosmic force, the divine, and that which lives in it, and myself, and where I fit in there. It's something that you need to be able to do. You have to be able to always have that link with yourself, no matter what. No matter what. And this is not something that a religious leader can provide you. It's got to be you and it. So yes, it's meditation is one level, but this is beyond meditation. I also have down here, you must be able to see the sky, because that is the first link to the universe, is just looking at the sky or being having it visible. So those are step one and two. If you aren't able to drive, you can get on the bus. Another thing I did was, when I wasn't in a position to drive, I would get on the local bus and just take the bus route for a few hours. And the bus would drive all the way out to wherever it's going and all the way back. But you own the bus for hours. You take it out and you take it back. You might have to pay or stop for lunch. But anyway, you're relatively alone for those hours because nobody really talks to you on the bus, and you can still see the sky. And you, although it's distracting noise all around you, if you tune them out, they're not distracting. And so, yeah, you could take the bus if you want to and still get similar results. But what you can't have is a baby or something else that you got to attend to. So we often, I guess you might have to get a babysitter or whatever. Or on those days, claim that you're going to work, drop your kids off as daycare as usual, claim that you're going to work and actually go driving to yourself. This is not a place for a lot of cell phone conversation, talking, and texting. This is for you to silently close your mouth and let your mind take you where it would while you go out those 2 hours. First, if you have a real busy life and you haven't been in touch with the soul in a long time, the first part of it is going to be that it's going to be purging and helping you to resolve all the problems you already got. This is where you can think through your problems and find solutions. And other things it's going to do is help you make decisions and resolve whether you need to have certain people in your life or not, whether you need to have certain things in your life or not. So it's going to, your first few sessions, depending on how far gone you are, it's going to be purging out problems that you already got. You got to get rid of those before it even gets down to the layer where you're in touch with your soul or trying to reach your soul. So it's going to get rid of those distractions first. So don't fret about not actually thinking about your soul or reaching that at that time, because it's going to get rid of, it's going to start purging out the distractions. Honestly, if you start doing this regularly, you'll probably have a cleaner, easier mind. A lot of problems, especially with black women, and I suspect probably with black men, is that they got a lot of clutter up in their brain with no solutions because they haven't had a chance to think them through, because there's always something bothering them and somebody distracting them before they had a chance to even give the thoughts to make their solutions happen. Okay, so don't fret if you don't immediately get in touch with your soul. I would say do this once a week, but sometimes that's a bit much. 4 or 5 hours alone, 4 or 5, 6 hours alone once a week might not be feasible to do some people's lifestyle, especially got children, family, work, and all of that. 4 to 6 hours alone might not be possible for them. But I do say do it at least once a month. And it's got to be consecutive hours. Sometimes it might take you 2 hours to even get to that point where you can think to yourself, let alone even figuring out how to reach your soul. Sometimes it takes 2 hours to even get to that point because you got so much clutter up there. So, yeah, do it at least once a month, but once a week is better. Even I don't even know whether you have to like get at work and call in sick and then go off on the highway or whatever you have to do to get that alone time. Okay. And so, yeah, like I said, a minimum once per month, but better once a week. And eventually you'll get down, when all that other clutter is gone, you'll get down to listening to your soul, and it'll talk to you a lot. You'll find some things you did awfully wrong and some things you're doing pretty good, but it's going to be your journey and your conversation with your soul. Now, let's see. And then at some point when you get down to the where your soul is, you will actually be able to gauge what's truly right and wrong again. And you'll know what a silliness the religious persons are telling you. Whatever they're saying is, you'll know how off they are, because you'll actually be able to judge right and wrong again. Remember, the person that's teaching you whatever religious junk that is, they're people. That's all they are, is other people. You're a person. Why you listening to, well, yeah, I'm gonna say it. Well, you're a person. Why you listening to them? You got all the same tools they do. Why you listening to them? You got the same tools I do. You don't have to listen to me, but do get to yourself. Okay? Do get to yourself. Next one is here. I got an example that I want to give about religion versus morality. And you should have already heard my religion and morality thing, plus my other ones. And this one is in addition to that. And the name of the story is called The Old Man at the DMV Story. What it is that I was at this DMV to get my something or another renewed, or God knows what nightmare happening. Anyway, we had to stand in this long line, and I swear to heaven, this was a long line to get to the long line. Yeah, they got to give you a number and point you where to go to stand in line at. So we had to stand in line at the intro line to get the guy to see who we are, and he can point us to the right line to get to where we need to be. Anyway, I'm standing in the long line and I'm almost to the front. And there was this elderly gentleman who came in being helped by a lady, and I saw him and he looked like he was barely able to walk. And I knew that he would have to stand in the same line I was. So I planned to let him in front of me as soon as he got in line. But first he had to go to the men's room because I could hear him telling his caregiver, I don't know whether she was his daughter or niece or whatever, but she was in better shape than he was. She wasn't exactly young, but he was very elderly, and she was older, but she was in good shape to help him walk around. I don't know what his relationship to her was, so I'm gonna call her the caregiver. Anyway, he told her he had to go to the bathroom before he got in line, and she was walking him to the bathroom. Meanwhile, my line was moving, and I had already planned to let him in front of me as soon as he got out of the bathroom, because in my mind, he was not going to wait in this long line just to get whatever it was what he wanted. He had a place in front of me as soon as he got in line, and I was near the front. But I'd be darned if he was going to wait. I was going to have him in front of me. Finally, my turn came in the line. I was almost next. I was at the front of next. It's one of those lines where you have to wait till the counter's empty and they call you over. So I was going to be called over next. And so, and he wasn't out of the bathroom yet. So I turned to the people behind me and I announced, there is this elderly gentleman that's going to be coming to this line. You all let him in front of you wherever you are, in front. I did. I basically demanded they let him in front. That I told him I was going to be leaving, but I was planning to let him in front of me. But since I'm not going to be in line, you let him in front of you. He's already paid his time. He doesn't need to wait in line. And they just, I could see some reluctance, but I stared them down. I saw one or two people, having that little look that they give you when they don't believe you, or that little side eye looking thing they do. It's not a glare, not an eye roll, but you can see defiance. And I stared him down. And I wasn't even going to be in line when he got in line. But I made sure that they were going to do right by him. Later on, I'm over on the other side now, and the other lady that was with him said, "Yeah, you take care of old people, and bless you, da da da." It, but the thing is, I'm not a Christian, but I do know right and wrong. Okay, so you don't have to be a Christian or nothing else religious to know the difference between right and wrong. You need to know what's right and wrong and be able to do it. That's the end of this one. I'm right at 45 minutes like I used to. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay. So that's the end of this one. I'm going to sign off because I'm going to stay within my little 45 or so minutes. Okay. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Oh yes, and feel free to put comments and things like that. Okay. Bye bye.